Good day everyone, I am Trisha May Ramos and my topic is all about Lesson 3, Writing and Deconstruction of Classical Tales. For my introduction, this lesson provides a discussion about deconstruction as a philosophy that developed into a method for reading a literary piece and a theory for literary criticism. Understanding the process of deconstruction in the field of literature sets off an opportunity for advancing the elements in the narrative of many children and adolescents' classical tales towards rewriting these literary works into transformed masterpieces that presents the realities of modern society. So deconstruction as a reaction to structuralism. Structuralism first emerged in France in 1950s and generally pertained to the idea of understanding the world in structures, relationships between categories and subcategories, whole and parts. It initially functions as linguistic principles used to explain the relationship between language and culture. Claude Lévi-Strauss. Based on the concept of Strauss, particular ideas belong to a more extensive structure to which they can be categorized or identified. Structuralists explain that it is human nature to reduce complex concepts into systems and categories depending on how a person perceives such structures. It aims to unlock the universal principles to which human reacts and conforms. Strauss believed that these systems and structures are constant and collective. He applied the structuralist principle in his study of the world's different mythologies. In his study, he found that these mythologies are similar in many things, and thus he sought to categorize and organize these into meaningful structures. It resulted in the development of the concept of a binary opposition, which indicates that the oppositional relationship of two words or ideas determines the meaning of each. Examples of these are light or dark, high and low, happy and sad, beautiful and ugly, and life and death. Deconstruction is a method in reading a literary piece and a theory for literary criticism. Jacques Derrida initially introduced the concept of deconstruction in literature. It challenges the structuralist theory for its dependence on the language systems as a perfect instrument at determining limitations, coherence, and definitive meanings of literary piece. There are three procedures in Derrida's deconstructive literary criticism. First is inverting the hierarchy, which destabilizing existing binary oppositions, in particular literary pieces. Challenging the existing definitive binaries is essential in this operation. Second is deconstructing firmly definitive limitations or margins, which is avoiding any impulse to categorize a specific literary work in any particular pattern, system, or rule. Third is analysis of inherent rhetoricity, exploring and challenging the existing binaries by unrevealing possibilities that undermine the definitive divisions of opposing concepts. Rewriting deconstruction of classical tales. As a form of literary criticism, deconstruction addresses the political and social issues surrounding several book challenges among children and adolescents' literary pieces. Censorship works effectively on pieces of literature that display brutality, violence, and obscenity. Political correctness is more than censorship. It sought to eliminate existing political and social biases deemed to be offensive to any minority groups. It instead focused on formulating several unnecessary terminologies to hide or alter words deemed insulting or damaging. Example: leprosy was later named Hansen's disease, while short people are called vertically challenged individuals. Many consider this step unnecessary or absurd because it still refers to and mean the same thing no matter how they change the name. Second is rewriting of parts of Shakespeare's Hamlet, where the author Thomas Boulder changed Ophelia's suicide into an illustration of accidental drowning, where the implementation of the political correctness ideology has gone to extremes that it went downhill towards hiding the truth among young readers, making them ignorant about the absurdities, violence, discrimination, and other problems in the real world. Gender bias. Changing gender bias words to neutral terminologies like man and woman transform to a person, while mother and father to parents. Deconstructive criticism is a vehicle in rewriting and reinventing classical tales to suit the beliefs and culture of modern society. Moving pictures as a new resources of learning, extending the reach of censorship. Viewing as the fifth language skill in the new language curriculum framework that includes the activities that involve comprehending and analyzing visual media, including moving pictures such as televisions and film. Rewriting the classical tales in the big screen. The development of technology represents the opportunities of rewriting the favorite classical tales in motion pictures and film. Walt Disney Company is one prominent entity in such an industry. It started with the retelling of Brothers Grimm, The Little Snow White, through an animated cartoon film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in 1937. They have rewritten the story in a manner that would be acceptable, romantic, and enchanting to young audiences. Instead of the biological mother inflicting harm to her child, Snow White, because of jealousy, the film had a weak stepmother who is a witch to take its place. Also, instead of the queen disguising 3 times bringing poisonous objects, which are lace, camp, and apple, to harm her child, the weak witch in the film only disguised once to poison Snow White with an apple. Over time, as technology advances, the industry ventures at producing modern 3-dimensional animated films. The company produced the story of Tangled 2010, which is again an inspiration drawn from the Brothers Grimm collection of fairy tales. Considering the years that have passed, feminist movements at this time of the film production have already established influence and inspired changes in women's image in society. Recently, the company produced live-action films of their animated classical tales in the past. This includes Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast. They presented a deconstruction of the characters' relationship and personalities in the film. And finally, Maleficent is Disney's most modern and creative rewriting of their previous animated film Beauty and the Beast. Presented Maleficent in a different light, where she became both the villain and hero in the tale. Deconstruction of Maleficent's character represents the possibilities of her kind nature being a fairy.